Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wake Up Missoula. I'm your host, Scott Ramp.
And I'm also your host, Noelle McFoy.
And we have a great show for you guys today.
We do, yes. It's middle of the week, Wednesday. We've got a couple guests for you. It's the last Wednesday of the month, so we've got our friends from Missoula Aging Services.
And we got Dan Gallagher here as well to talk about Veterans Day.
Yes, so a full show for you guys. We've got some city council events, all the usual things on our, usual shows. Yeah.
But first, we're going to start off with some weather. So today, it is currently 24 degrees outside. If you didn't freeze yourself this morning and you're still alive to watch this morning show, you'll know that later today, it's going to be nice and sunny with a high of 53 degrees. But then, of course, if you survive long enough for the rest of the week, it's going to be cold, rainy, and fairly miserable. But
yes.
Why do you want to stay inside?
Halloween's coming.
Why do you want to stay outside?
No.
Because you can stay inside and you can go to the premiere of our very own coworker and friend, Christian Ackerman. He's doing a zombie movie. I'll show that later in the day as well.
Night of the Living Dead, right? Is that what it's called?
Zombies of the Living Dead.
Oh, excuse me. Zombies of the Living Dead.
The first time I heard that title, I was like, can you think of like Small Town Zombies or something?
Yeah. Yeah, so that will be premiering at the Roxley Theater tomorrow. We'll show the trailer for you guys later.
And we hope to have a guest host, our very own Josh Minnie, this Friday.
Yeah.
He's coming back. Our little Joshy boy's grown up, and he used to be on our show. So if you're one of the
long-time viewers,
that have
been with us from the beginning, you will know that he was on our show until about a year ago, and now it's
more than
he left a year ago.
He left a year ago.
It's been me, Scott, and Asaph since then.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes. But we've got some social media for you guys. So if you want to find out more about Wake Up Missoula, you can check us out on our website, wakeupmissoula.wix.com/wakeupmissoula. You can check us out on our Facebook page. You can like Wake Up Missoula on Twitter.
Missoula Community Access Television has a Twitter page at MCAT-TV Missoula. Also, you could like Missoula Community Access Television on Facebook. You have to type in the whole thing. You can't type in MCAT, unfortunately, because that just sends you to like a medical website. Anyways, you can go on to MCAT.org. These are the winners of our Doin' 72 competition. They won $500 for their video.
Awesome.
It was called M Squad.
M Squad.
And you can watch the Doin' 72 video on MCAT coming up pretty soon, and I'll show you that when it is going to air. But speaking of new program, we have some brand new programming as well.
Awesome.
But before I show the program, I just want to introduce and tell people that if you are interested in being a producer or making your own show on MCAT, orientation is next Wednesday and not the following Wednesday, because the following Wednesday is Veterans Day on the 11th. So next Wednesday, the 4th of November, is our orientation at 5:30 here at MCAT, and it's from 5:30 to about 6:30, 7 o'clock. It really depends upon how many people show up and how many questions are asked. But if you want to get in contact with us, you can call us at 542-6228, otherwise known as 542
MCAT.
And you can email us mcat@mcat.org, and we'll get right back to you, or we'll sign you up, and we'll be expecting you that day as well.
Yeah.
But without further ado, here's some brand new programming that's happening on MCAT, and when we come back, we'll have
Lois
our guest
and Judy from Missoula Aging Services.
All right, stay with us.
Nutrient deficiencies. So that's when you're not having, hidden hunger is not having an overt clinical sign of undernutrition. Okay, now there'll be a test on all these definitions at the end. No, I'm kidding. All right, so then moving us into kind of historically what the nutrition field has looked at and talked about historically in terms of the connection between malnutrition and undernutrition.
So this we did in camp, and we both one of us wrote questions, the other wrote answers, and without knowing what the other person would say, so it's totally random, and some of them are pretty funny, so.
All right. And I wrote the questions.
Yeah.
If people sat on their heads,
I would die.
if all organisms were made of wood,
Then I would become a deranged hermit.
if Donald Trump was president,
I would eat a cookie.
if humans were nocturnal,
There would be no cars at the dealerships.
if someone of the opposite gender controls your mind,
I would hide in the panic room.
Hey guys, we're here with the Missoula Aging Service, and they're here to talk about Senior Companion.
Yes.
And so tell us, what is Senior Companion?
What is Senior Companion? It is a program designed to help senior adults have a companion to help them with independence. Missoula Aging Services' mission is to promote the independence and dignity and health of older adults and those who serve them, and so this program is great for that. And we're promoting getting senior companions lined up.
Yeah.
So if you become a Senior Companion, what do Senior Companions do?
What do? Well, they will visit a senior in their home, provide companionship, provide transportation to a doctor's appointment, help with getting groceries, all those sorts of things.
Yeah, kind of like daily activities that you need help with, or like if you need a friend.
Absolutely.
And so, Judy, you're a senior companion. Can you
Yes.
tell us about what you do?
I take my clients to their doctor appointments, shopping, groceries, and clothes. We go out to lunch. And during the summer, it's a lot of fun to go out to lunch at Caras Park when they can. We do a lot of activities.
And how many homes do you guys go into?
Quite a few. I'm sorry, Judy.
That's
I'll
all
just
right.
jump in there. The senior companion might visit several homes. One senior companion might be matched with 4 or 5 people, so they might visit through the week. And then we've got that many more senior companions we'd like to match in there to visit that many more people. Most senior companions work anywhere from 15 to 40 hours a week.
Okay, that's a lot. Yeah.
So what you were talking to us earlier before we put you on the show is that a lot of people don't know about this program, and a lot of people don't even know about Missoula Aging Service in general. Can you tell the people out there about the Missoula Aging Service in general?
In general, yes, we have a lot of programs designed to assist seniors and provide support, helping with that independence. Primarily, Senior Companion Program is one of 3 programs through Senior Corps that provide that service. We've got foster grandparents, senior companions, and RSVP. So lots of things going on there. There are, caregiver support groups, anything you can imagine that you might need support with for retaining your independence, for supporting your health. Any questions you have, call Missoula Aging Services and you'll probably find that resource, or they can refer you to somebody who can.
Do you guys have like a number of how many people you serve in Missoula and Missoula County?
Totally, I couldn't even tell you.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot.
Yeah, I would think so too.
I'm all focused on senior companions and trying to promote that the most.
And speaking of which, what are some of the requirements to get into this program?
Requirements. 55 or older, need to be income eligible. You can earn a tax-free stipend to do this
nice.
work. Again, an interest and a willingness to serve and be there for folks who are at that risk of not being able to do those things that make life worth living.
But also in most of these programs, there's a lot of there's a minimum amount of hours that you have to put in every month. So
Minimum, we'll say per week, 15 to 40 hours. So there's a little range there within which you work. I think a lot of my companions are somewhere between 20 and 30 hours. It varies.
What about you, Judy? How many hours a week do you go into homes?
I do 15.
Yeah.
And it's very, very rewarding. Very rewarding. So if anybody wants to do it, they'll enjoy it.
do you have any stories or anything you want to reflect on that really stood out while doing this program?
I had one lady that was in her 90s. She was living in an assisted living home, and she said, "This isn't for me." So she went out, got herself a realtor, and bought herself a home. She was very handicapped. She was blind, and she needed a walker, but she found herself a cute little house, and she lived there until she passed away. She was just a wonderful, wonderful person and very independent.
That's very inspiring too, to
Yes.
like be handicapped and blind and just be like, nope, I'm gonna do it.
She said that wasn't for her. They treated her like a bunch of cows.
Yep.
So she was out there.
Yeah, and I feel like the senior companions, like it kind of gives that relief to where like they may not have to go into assisted living that early because they've got
Yes.
someone coming by.
Yes.
And can you kind of talk to us about like, I know that a lot of older people that live alone go through like depression and anxiety. Can you kind of talk to us about that?
Oh yeah, like the isolation can just be profound. and having that person you know is going to come that particular day, come visit you, get you out and about. It's huge. It is huge.
It does. It gives them an independence. And like I said, we do fun things. We go to lunches, and it gets them out. Even my one lady who's been ill, she says, let's just go out for a drive. I need to get out. Yeah. And that's what it's all about, getting out, getting some fresh air, socializing.
Yeah. Yep.
So, once again, where can people find more information about Missoula Aging Service and the Senior Companion?
Both, 728-7682. Call us or get online, www.missoulaagingservices.org.
That's
Absolutely.
awesome. Great. Is there anything else that you guys would like to add before we let you go?
Call us.
It's fun. It's rewarding. Do it.
Good. Thank you very much, ladies.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with Dan Gallagher after this.
Hey, we're here with Dan Gallagher, and he's here to talk about some of the Veterans Day celebrations. So
tell us about yourself, Dan. You are with American Legion Post 101.
I am. I'm the adjutant of American Legion Post 101. I'm a Vietnam veteran.
Yes.
And I was one of the organizers of Post 101, and I'm in charge each year of the Veterans Day ceremony here in Missoula, the courthouse Doughboy statue ceremony. And that's what we're basically here to talk about is this year's Veterans Day ceremony, which is coming up in 2 weeks from today, as a matter of fact.
And you tend to have a theme every year. What is your theme this year?
Every year we do, and we try to get the focus of the Veterans Day. I mean, obviously there's the observation of Veterans Day is recognizing veterans, but we want to add a specific focus. This year the theme is going to be "So You Think the Battle is Over," and it's actually a reminder to soldiers, to veterans, and to the citizenry that once the soldier comes back from war, the war isn't necessarily over. And it's not just not over for the soldiers, not over for their families. And there's a lot of work to be done by veterans, by the citizens, by the country to take care of veterans. And that's the battle that's being fought. The battle, it's actually a line from a Johnny Cash song. And it's about basically that even though we put down the guns, even though there's no sound of the cannons, there's still a battle being waged.
Yeah.
So during the ceremonies, which veterans from which wars can we expect to see here?
Well, all wars. Of course, there are no World War I veterans left. The World War II era that's always represented in Korea and Vietnam, and more we're getting the Afghan and Iraq vets to come out to the ceremony. So it's universal. It's not just about Vietnam veterans. I happen to be a Vietnam veteran, but it's a day to celebrate veterans, and it's unlike Memorial Day. It's not just those who died in war on Veterans Day. It's all those who served.
Yeah.
And so you'll see a lot of gray hair and no hair, and you'll see a lot of young people out there.
And so what's it like to talk to these young guys that are just coming back from the war in Iraq and Afghanistan?
It's interesting because as a Vietnam veteran, of course, we had some issues. We had a lot of issues coming back, and there's some differences. The age, the difference. We were 19 in Vietnam. They're older, but they have some different problems. And we came back. You know, the diagnosis of PTSD didn't exist when we came back from Vietnam. Agent Orange was not accepted as a legitimate problem for about 10 years after we got back from Vietnam. These veterans are coming back with different problems, but they're still problems that they're facing. And one of the sad statistics that denotes those problems is you'll see a lot of suicide rate among the younger veterans. It's near about the same as it was with Vietnam veterans. And with Vietnam veterans, 58,000 Americans were killed in Vietnam, and over 70,000 Vietnam veterans have committed suicide in the years since the war. So you're seeing that with these other vets as well.
Is there a higher rate of suicide for the younger veterans than the older?
It's hard to say that it's higher now, but it's right up there. It's competing, if that's something one it's competing. But it's right up there, and you know, by the time they've reached our age, it may be a higher rate, but it's definitely high, and it's too high. There's no reason why people who serve their country should come back and not have the treatment, not have the care, not have the things they need that end up leading them to something as drastic as that. And that's one of the things that this, so you think the battle is over, is trying to remind veterans and people that, for example, the VA has to be prodded. And it's not just the politicians. There are things that we can do ourselves. And for example, we're honoring, going to recognize Brenda Desmond, who's a judge who created the Veterans Court here in town, because there are things that veterans can do as well. But the younger vets have problems that are going to have to be addressed. And my line is, they come back to yellow ribbons, but after an amount of time, those yellow ribbons turn into red tape as far as bureaucracy is concerned, and as far as them dealing with their problems. So we tend to mentor, if I can maybe.
Yeah, go ahead. By all means.
But we tend to mentor the younger veterans and to basically tell them what we went through, so it's a matter of veterans serving veterans.
I think that's so rewarding, and I feel like the guys really get a lot out of that.
Yeah, because I have friends who've been in the Iraq War and all that stuff, and you know, like they always like tell me there's like people like me would never understand what it's like.
Yeah.
For sure, and I mean it's great that veterans helping veterans. So speaking of which, what are some of the programs that if you're a veteran at home and you're watching this and you catch us, where can people find you or get in touch with any veterans programs that could help?
Well, we do have an email, alpost101@gmail.com. People call the number 406-240-4471. We can talk to them, get involved in some of our activities. But probably the best thing that veterans can do is come together, support one another. When, for example, come to this Veterans Day ceremony, you're going to meet a lot of other veterans there, and you're going to find some of the people who can help you out. And this year's ceremony will be again. Hopefully, the weather won't be so cold that we have to move inside, but it'll be at the Doughboy statue, and we have some speakers and a chance for everybody who comes to lay a flower in remembrance of a veteran important in their life. And it's a good ceremony, but it's a chance for veterans to share their problems and their pride as well.
That's awesome. Yeah. Where can people find more information about you guys?
Well, again, just getting the email and the phone number. Another thing is if people frequent the Old Post Pub, that happens to be the Post 101 business establishment, so they can certainly come by there, leave messages, and we'll get back with them. And the other thing is to call the American Legion in Department of Montana in Helena, and they can pass on our information to them.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Is there anything else you want to say? Give a shout out.
Just the Veterans Day is November 11th. It's 2 weeks from today, and our ceremony starts at 11 o'clock in the morning, which of course is the 11th hour, the 11th day, 11th month when World War I ended. That's why we do it at 11. But it'll be 11 o'clock, last about an hour. Dress warmly, but come and take part in the ceremony. And I think hopefully we'll be able to help a few people out in the process.
I think so too. Thank you very much, Dan.
Thank you, Noelle.
We'll be right back after this. Hello, you guys, and I'm here with events. So, what we've got first up, this morning, starting at 11 a.m. over at Spectrum Discovery area, their Discovery Bench is Bubbles, and their Brain Lab is Savvy Smells. Goes on starting at 11, and then they have their Science Sprouts, which is for the younger crowd, from 11 to 12, and they're doing something with pumpkins, either carving or talking about them or something. And then over at noon at the Missoula Insectarium, they're having their Little Bugs Toddler Time. Spider Parts is what it's called. So this is for children between ages 3 and 5, and it's just introduced them to the wonderful world of insects and their relatives. So they have story time, hands-on interactions with bug ambassadors, and fun games kids and their parents will play and learn about together. Yeah, super cute. So that's at noon. And then over at 2 o'clock at the Missoula Public Library, they've got their free matinee. This is usually a classic film starting at 2 p.m. It's in the large meeting room. And then at 3:30 is middle school writers over at the Missoula Public Library. This is a writing group for grades 6 through 9. And it's just to give good feedback, play with words, and eat some chocolate. Over the Top Hat Lounge, they have got their fish happy hour. So starting at 4:30, they've got a all thing fish themed. So like the Fish, the jam band. Yeah, so that's Wednesdays. Also, a little side note that the Grateful Dead Mondays and then the Fish Happy Hour on Wednesdays, if you go to those and buy a drink and you can get a little ticket that they'll punch for you. It's 8 spaces, and so you have to go to either one of those to get it punched. But if you do and you fill up your ticket, you get a free show at the Top Hat. So you get a free ticket to any show that you want to at the Top Hat. So I feel like it's such a good deal. You go hang out, listen to awesome jam bands from the past, get a free concert ticket. If you go, all you have to do is go like twice a week for a month, you got a free concert ticket. It's pretty sweet. So check that out. Starts at 4:30. Over at the Kettle House, they've got their Community Unite starting at 5. 50 cents from each beer sold will go to the organization of the night. And then over at the Public Library, they've got their open jewelry studio in the makerspace from 5:30 to 7. They're going to be doing, so it's instruction on basic techniques. You can find new projects or enjoy a collaborative workshop atmosphere. Yeah. So this week they are talking about it's National Wilderness Workshop Week. So they're going to be talking about what we can do with our wilderness. So it starts at 6 p.m. tonight, and it's going to be held at the university. And so it's going to have wilderness stewards and advocates from across the country to turn ideas into action for furthering the merits of the Wilderness Act into the next 50 years. So talking about our future with the national wildlife. Attendees will build on the momentum of the 2014 National Wilderness Conference and assist in implementation, that's right, of the Interagency 2020 Vision document signed at the conference. So check that out. That's at 6 p.m. Over at Missoula Public Library, they have an internet searching. It starts at 6 p.m. Introduction to the internet, including how to get connected using a web browser and navigating web pages. You can learn how to find more information about online using search engines and subject directories. So everything that you want to know, you can find online. So 6 to 7, registration is required. Just call 728-2665. Then starting at the south side at Kettle House Brewery tonight at 6 p.m. is the last Wednesday beer run. So this is put on by Run Wild Missoula. It's their monthly beer run. It's the last one. And so they're going to be having, so it looks like Southside Kettle House has got 2 gluten-free beers on tap, so all you gluten-free crazy people can drink those. And it's 3 days till Halloween, so you can wear costumes if you want to. It's free and open to the public. So if you want to go, show up at 6 and just run around. There's 3 and 5 mile route is offered. Yeah. And then over at the Great Bird Brewing Company at 6 p.m. is a Wildland Firefighter Appreciation Party. So this is for all the people that help to keep our forests from burning down a whole lot and just, fires this summer. Yeah.
We should have had them on our show.
Yeah, that would have been good. And then over at Clark Fork City Church, they have a harvest party for kids. Aww. They have lots of games. They've got a bounce houses. Oh, good. Scott and I love bounce
If I was president, I'd make sure that every single kid had a bounce house.
A bounce house for everyone.
A bounce house for you. A bounce house for you.
No. Me?
Yes,
Yeah.
especially you. Except the kids who have vertigo.
Vertigo. If your kid has vertigo, we can't have a bounce house.
Well, you can. It's probably a lot safer than
Yeah.
walking on the street. Bounce house for him.
You're elected.
That's my platform.
Yeah. What are you going to do for America?
Bouncy houses.
Everyone
The
gets
White
a
House will
bouncy
become one giant bouncy house, and people will have to do filing paperwork. No pens, though.
house. No pens, please.
No
Please,
pens.
Only markers.
Anybody who brings pens into the bouncy houses is a traitor to this country of bouncy houses.
It'll be now the bouncy house of America.
Yes, this city was born on BP-free plastics that you
keep
can
it that
bounce
way.
on repeatedly, and air, lots and lots of hot air.
Air is free, but not really. I'm just kidding. That didn't make sense. Okay, going back to events. All right, so they're at Green Path Herb School, as I am very excited about, and I've started talking about. They're doing affordable classes. So Green Pharmacy, Green Path Herb School has got percolation starting at 6:30. You can learn how to make your own herbal tinctures or liquid extracts. John Gojkovic is going to be discussing supplies, equipment, and different procedures for making herbal tinctures by percolation.
Sounds like a Black Eyed Peas song.
It does, yeah. So you can learn how to make your own simple percolator. And they'll make a percolator together in class. You can bring home an extra tincture for $6. 6:30 to 8:30 in class cost is $25.
Let's start a percolation coalition.
Percolation Coalition by MCAT.
Yes. 'Cause it's totally a Black Eyed Peas song.
What a fun-
Percolation coalition.
Percolation Coalition.
Yep.
We'll come up with the words later and we'll sing it to you guys.
And dissolve.
And dissolve. All right, so country dance lessons with instructor Kathy Clark is at the Sunrise Saloon at 7 p.m. It's $5 per lesson.
If you missed last 2 weeks, you can get this 2 weeks.
Yeah, you sure can.
Twice in 1 week, every week.
Yep, Wednesdays and Thursdays. And then The Shining is over at the Roxy Theater at 7 p.m. So, of course, it's such a classic movie. I'm sure you guys all remember that. Yeah, so they're going to be showing at the Roxy at 7. Go early because I'm sure it'll fill up. I feel like it will. This is also the 35th anniversary screening. So, see. And then over at Big Sky High School, they're doing the Addams Family musical.
What?
So this should be very interesting. This is Scott's old school.
Yeah.
So it's a family-friendly, fun production.
I don't remember my school being this cool.
Yeah, it starts at 7:30. Tickets are available at the door October 28th to the 31st. And then tonight for evening events, we've got karaoke at the Eagles at 8:30, karaoke at the Badlander at 9, and karaoke at the Sunrise Saloon at 9.
I really want to see this. Would you like to go?
Sure.
It's happening.
A new musical.
Yeah, like Addams Family. I love Addams Family.
I love the
Wednesday
Addams
and
Family
Pugsley.
too. Yeah.
We're like Wednesday and Pugsley.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what I've got for today's events. We're going to switch gears now and go over to Asaph segment.
The beginning of this program, the song that I was playing is a song called Coming Through the Rye. It's an old Irish song, and it's a perfect song to talk about our guest for the day on Musical Notes. We're talking about Joe Feeney, F-E-E-N-E-Y is how that's spelled, because some people spell it different. Anyway, Joe Feeney was an American tenor singer, and he was a regular on the Lawrence Welk show. He's the second person from the Lawrence Welk show that I featured. First one was Myron Florin, if you remember last year or whatever. Anyway, Feeney was he comes from an Irish-American family. He started singing as a boy soprano at the St. Mary Cathedral and his parish church choir. And then after graduating from St. Mary's Cathedral High School, he landed guest appearances on a program called Youth Opportunity Hour. And he was singing for that. And in college at the St. Benedict College in Kansas and the University of Nebraska, he attended both of those schools while he was singing. And he entered a contest in an old program you probably never heard of called the Arlene Francis Program. It was a talent patrol, and I've heard of this Arlene Francis program. Then he took a job at the WOW station in Omaha, and his voice was submitted to the Lawrence Welk show, and he eventually got hired, and the rest was history. He sang on that program from 1957 to 1982. Let's show that clip, and I'll say a final thing about him.
Okay.
Joe Feeney gets in the spirit of our show this evening with a song that was very, very popular in those days, My Wild Irish Rose. Joe Feeney. My wild Irish rose, the sweetest flower that grows. You may search everywhere, but none can compare
So that gives you an
with
idea.
my
And some of the
wild.
songs that he would eventually start singing all the time because they were requested. Songs like the London Dairy Air, known to the world as Danny Boy. Oh, Danny Boy. Its real name is called the London Dairy Air. And he would sing the Mario Lanza classic Be My Love, Sweet Lalani, and Galloway Bay. Those were some of the popular songs that he sang throughout his tenure with the Lawrence Welk and so on. What's interesting about this man is he has the distinction of singing for 5 U.S. presidents.
Oh.
Can you believe that?
Nice.
Just that kind of music. He's performed at Carnegie Hall 3 times, and he sang in 1975 for Pope Paul VI for the canonization of Mother Seton, and she was this person was the first native-born American saint. And so Joe Feeney got that opportunity for this canonization. So he just spent his entire life in the Catholic world, the Catholic Church, singing until he finally retired.
Nice.
I think that was in 1982 when he retired from singing when the Lawrence Welk show ended. And he probably did concerts after that. So he left the world some great Irish music.
Yeah. Nice. Thank you very much, Asaph.
Sure.
That was Musical Notes with Asaph Adonai. All right. This is what's going on tomorrow. So starting at tomorrow, 8 a.m. is more of the National Wilderness Workshop conversation. So you can join wilderness stewards and advocates from across the country as they chart the course for the next 50 years of wilderness stewardship and management.
Well, that's ambitious.
Right?
50 years?
I know, they're getting crazy.
They just do it, and then they don't do it again for another 50 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, we train them out for 50 years. It's like, what do we do after those 50 years? Hopefully I'll be dead.
I won't be around, I don't know. Defer it to the young
Pass
ones.
the bug. But that's just me.
Over at the Providence Center, starting at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, is the NAMI Missoula weekly meeting. And so it's a free weekly meeting for anyone affected by mental illness or interested in learning about NAMI. It's at 902 North Orange Street, room 109. Over at Spectrum Discovery area, starting at 11, their Discovery bench is Jitterbugs, and their Brain Lab is Synaptic Snow Globes. $3.50 for anyone 4 and over, and if you're under 3, you get in for free.
That sounds very violent.
Yeah, it does. Really scary. Yeah, Synaptic Snow Globes and Jitterbugs. Ah! I guess it is Halloween, though.
True
Not
that.
that doesn't mean anything. I don't know. Okay, so then Missoula Food Bank's Food for Thought discussion series is being held at the Missoula Public Library. So they're going to be talking, this is a monthly discussion series led by local experts on the casual issues of hunger in our community. So today, October's topic is what's on the ballot and issues that impact low-income families. Over at NAMI Missoula, now this is the NAMI Connection Support Group. So this is the support group for adults living with mental illness. That'll be at 202 Brook Street, room 210, at 1:30 tomorrow. And then over at the public library, they have a drop-in computer help time. So it's from 2 to 3. No reservation is needed. You can drop in for general questions on the computer, programs, and devices. Yeah, it's in the computer classroom. Then at 3, there's open time in the makerspace at the Missoula Public Library. Learn how to use the equipment or work on a project of your choice or just explore some stuff. Starts from 3 to 6. Over at the Missoula Insectarium, they've got their spider and anatomy anatomy? I'm saying that wrong.
Anatomy?
Yes. God, I don't know why yeah, that was really hard.
I thought
but
it's
spider
easy
anatomy
if you're from
craft.
Montana. You say anatomy.
I know, I don't know. just
In
put some
Montana, we
random
call it
letters in there.
anatomy.
Anatomy.
Anatomator.
Autonomy?
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 It's like you're British.
Anatomy?
It's aluminium. Aluminum. Aluminium.
Yeah.
That's what they call aluminum.
Really? Aluminium?
Aluminium.
Yeah. Words are hard, okay?
So they know you're American if you say, "I'll have aluminium can."
So the Spider Anatomy Crafts will be at the Missoula Insectarium at 3 p.m. So they're going to feature a new and fun craft that will help young visitors better understand the world of spiders. So crafting is from 3 to 5, and it's $4.
Oh, I just read this article that they found the world's largest spider. I know, right?
Where?
Amazon.
How big
they
was
do.
it? Yeah, of course.
It was a foot long. Yeah. Yeah.
It's so scary. Spiders are cool. It's just all those legs.
They call it
They move quick.
the Goliath bird-eating spider.
Oh my gosh.
And of course, it's
I think I've
not
heard of this
venomous.
No.
But it has really long fangs.
Yeah, and it eats birds.
And it basically just chomps it to death and then sucks out the juice. I think that's pretty sweet.
I think that sounds fun.
Yeah, but they're not insects.
Cool.
They're arachnids.
No. Yeah. Get it right, you guys.
I love spiders.
They're crazy. They're super creepy and really cool. And all those legs, just oh.
Well, I had a brief scare of spiders for a little while after that David Arquette movie, 8-Legged Freaks.
Oh yeah. Oh
Remember
yeah.
that movie?
Yeah, it's terrifying.
It's so funny too.
Yeah.
People are scared because of spiders. It's a scary movie, but it's you got these guys on motocross. I highly suggest you watch the movie 8-Legged Freaks.
I don't think I've
And
ever
there's the whole sequence when they're doing motocross on balancing bikes, and then these jumping spiders are huge and jumping at people and attacking the guys on the motorbike. So there's this scene where the motorbike is in the air. It's slow motion.
Really?
The jumping spider's almost about to get him, and then he flying kick. Yeah! And then it's the best thing ever. But this jumping spider got so many of the kids who were riding the bikes.
Yeah, that jumping spider will eat your children. Be careful, everyone. That's what I got out of that story.
Well, they're motocross kids, so it's they don't matter.
Oh, they're oh yeah, that's true.
Because they just like to rev up their engines.
Oh, and they hate hippies, so I definitely support them getting eaten by spiders.
I highly suggest you watch the movie 8-Legged Freaks. Speaking, it is the Halloween season is one of the quirkiest movies. It's not scary, but it is
really weird.
it is exciting and great.
Yeah.
And I think Elizabeth the Shoe is in it too.
Oh, good. Yeah.
It's just all sorts of wonderful. But anyways, dissolve.
All right. Well, now according to Scott, it's time for me to talk about events again.
Because I have city council.
I know. Well, you're keeping.
I have 5 clips.
Okay. Well, we're going on, everyone. So over at the Missoula Insectarium, they have spider feeding. So every week on Thursday, starting at 3:30, they feed their tarantula. Her name is Rosie, I do believe. Yeah, Rosie the Chilean rose-hair tarantula. So that's at 3:30 every Thursday. Check it out. If you want to watch them feed a spider, I feel like that'd be so much fun. So yeah, go. Yeah. And then the Lego Club is at the Missoula Public Library at 3:30 in the Dragon Rug in the children's area. And then over at Imagination Brewing Company is Nonprofit Appreciation Day. Missoula Community Access Television is a nonprofit, so we could also benefit from that. Yeah, so they're just gonna go there. If you work for a nonprofit, you can go in there, you can get a half off your first beer, and you just celebrate all the good work that all the nonprofits do for Missoula. Yeah. So all good. So it's good all day every Thursday and only available to nonprofit workers. Over at La Grata Bella, starting at 5, is a downtown drop-in wine tasting. Cost used to be $10, but I was informed by a couple last week that cost is now $12.50. So, cost is now $12.50. Payable at the Old Post Pub, minimum of 4 wines and a different theme each week. And they were also telling me that's probably good to go early because it fills up. There's also a wine tasting over at Romaines. I don't know where Ramones is. Wine tasting at Romaines from 5 to 7. They'll feature wine from France, Spain, Washington, and California. It's only $10. And then at the Roxy Theater, this is the feature film showing of Zombies of the Living Dead. Our co-worker Christian Ackerman has made this movie. He's been making this movie for quite a while, too. So, Hey, I'm not done.
You don't want to show the trailer?
After my events.
Okay.
Yeah. So he will be showing that at the Roxy Theater. We'll show you guys the trailer in a few minutes. Tickets are available at the Roxy, and it starts at 6, and it's going to be showing at 6 and at 9 as well. So if you want to see a great local zombie movie, I highly suggest it. And then over at MCT, they're doing let's see.
To Missoula with Love?
Yeah, seem to have
13?
gotten some things crazy. Yeah, so over at the MCT, they're doing a show called To Missoula with Love, Lucky 13. Starts at 6 p.m. Not quite sure what it's about, but it sounds interesting. And then at the Carousel for Missoula, they're having a Haunted Hollow at 6 p.m. So you enjoy a carousel rides and a flashlight tour of the Haunted Dragon Hollow. And then it's designed for little ones under 12, can enjoy it too. So it's perfect for those, younger ones. And then we've got evening events. So then we've got a bunch of music. So MC Lars Cuckoo Kangaroo is going to be at Stage 112 at 8 p.m.
Oh, God.
Rocky Horror Show Live will be at the Wilma Theater tomorrow night at 8 p.m. There will be open mic at the Eagles Lodge in Missoula at 8:30. Open mic at the Broadway at 9. Dead Hipster at the Badlander at 9. Rockin' Karaoke at the Dark Horse at 9. Cold Hard Cash will be at the Sunrise Saloon at 9. And Brothers Gal will be at Top Hat Lounge at 10 p.m. So now, without further ado, here is the trailer for Zombies of the Living Dead. Dun, dun, dun.
In a town, Officer Sid Jensen has enough problems of his own.
Everyone shut up! And what does our president do about it? Nothing!
How's Jill?
We broke up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So you would arrest me, your own father.
Things are about to get weird.
Now let's go put some foot to balls! What the hell does that even mean?
I've seen this in every movie.
It's 2 different movies and different genres, that's what I'm saying.
It's the same genre.
No, okay.
It's the same crappy movie.
All right,
So that'll be at the Roxy Theater
happened.
tomorrow night, 6 and 9 p.m. And we are going to switch gears now because Scott's got some city council. So we've got a couple clips.
Some city council.
So what happened with city council?
So today in city council, we're going to start off with a little bit of public comment, and of course our favorite, Mark McMillan, and he has some things more to say about the gun ordinance. So let's start with
Let's hear from Mark.
It's unbelievable that this could have made it this far through the process. Did you write the ordinance? It's clear that not all of you have actually read it, at least not with the level of detail and care that voters would expect you to. In the exemption section G4, it states that when the transferee is under 18, as it is written, the adult directly supervising the minor has to be someone that is prohibited from possessing firearms under state or federal law. I just wonder how all 12 of you guys missed this. Other questions. Do you have a plan on how to educate the public about this ordinance should it be passed, be it that it might have been December? Do you have a budget and plan on how to pay for that public education? Have you talked to and do you have plans to work with the university on how to educate students, both existing and the new ones arriving, so none of them unexpectedly end up with a misdemeanor firearms charge on their record? And again, who's going to pay for that education? This is a serious charge that could have long-lasting and devastating effects on someone's life in terms of future job opportunities, custody of children, and so on. At the Public Health and Safety meeting last Wednesday, I submitted a list of 51 FFLs in the area. Since that time, I've had the opportunity to do some analysis. Roughly 10 of them are not in the city, and roughly 17 of them are private residences. Have you thought about the ramifications of 2 strangers, one of them holding a gun, walking up to someone's doorstep? How will the neighbors respond? How would Marcus Karmer respond? Has anyone on this council that was initially ready to approve this law thought about the first frantic 911 call coming in stating that two men are walking into Walmart with a black rifle? How will you know if this is an active shooter or two people attempting to comply with your ordinance? If this ordinance was a car, Ralph Nader would be on a flight to Missoula. Thank you.
All right. So that's what he had to say about the ordinance. He is completely opposed to the ordinance, and he's trying to be a little more clear. So the idea is that other comments echo basically what Mark was saying, and mostly about a lot of the same faces we had at our last review of the city council as well. But of course, it is clear that the ordinance is going to be discussed to the point of demise, maybe, if the public safety and health meeting are to continue in that last Wednesday's fashion that I showed you on Friday, respectfully, of course. As you may know, that there is a construction and road projects are done for the season.
Woo!
Which means it's time to talk about even more road constructions for the next season. So this is Chris Bean, and he's from the Redevelopment Agency, and he's here to talk about the urban renewal plan from the MRA, who's also doing the throughway that's going through the Southgate Mall. But he's talking about one of my favorite places, the North Side.
Woo!
And specifically talking about the North Side, my very own street, Scott Street and Rogers. So between Scott Street and Rogers, they're going to do a infrastructure improvement area. So this is the Urban Renewal District. So here is Chris Bean to explain a little bit more on that.
First of all, I know that MRA has a lot of things in front of the council right now, so we'll try to separate this out a little bit. We're going to talk about one of the brand new urban renewal districts. This is on the north side between Railroad and the freeway. You'll recall the North Reserve Scott Street district. Apparently, when you approved this, that we found that there was a lot of, pent-up demand. People who wanted to do things somewhere in town, in this area in particular, because of the appropriate zoning or appropriate location. But a lot of the infrastructure issues and costs really had prevented them from working on some of these projects. Earlier in the summer, you approved financing and annexing into the district, boundary changes, and what we're doing tonight, specifically declaring an urban renewal project within the urban renewal plan for two projects: Consumer Direct, which is way up here in the northwestern quadrant, and for the Brett's expansion.
All right. So the next part I'm going to talk about is it's interesting to know that the North Side, being so close to the heart of Missoula, could suffer some, basic lacks of infrastructure that is needed for commercial and private homes or businesses and somewhat. I mean, it's really, it really surprises me that there's a lot of things that need to be done in the North Side. Since it's right by the railroad.
Yeah,
and that's
I
where
agree.
Missoula started. North Side is where Missoula basically started it, and they kind of had parts over in the South Side. South Side was barely anything back in the day.
Yeah, it's. I live on the North Side, and it definitely needs some improvements.
But yeah, so the MRA wants to improve the district near Scott Street Village for the potential for these places. So basically, it's a way for the city of Missoula to invest in prospective buyers and builders on the north side parcel of this land. So this is, our next person, Mike Fellows. He's against this, of course, and he, and he has a good reason too. He says that this represents. He thinks that this is a slush fund, the kind of things that happen in Chicago for making money. So this is what he had to say.
Look at some of our rules and regulations. I think one study I've seen so far that said the cost of new housing is 25%. The cost of new housing is rules and regulations that are imposed by local municipalities. And so we've got to look at some of those things, and we could probably have more affordable housing and projects of this nature if the council would just look at some of these rules and regulations and try to streamline some of these things, make them simpler, and not try to add to the costs of housing, because Missoula does get to be a pretty expensive place to live. And I just I'm opposed to these type of, I'm opposed to urban rural districts as a whole anyway. I've seen too many districts, especially in places like Chicago, where they are kind of a slush fund for the mayor's office. And you've got in certain districts where you've got high-end Cadillac dealerships, Starbucks, coffee shops, high-end Apple stores, and these are all places that are getting this TIF money. Even the newly purchased Sears Tower is getting TIF money, and so you have to wonder why we're giving money to the well-connected anyway. Thank you for your time.
Okay, so that's what he had to say about this urban renewal district, is that basically it's highlighting a certain part of the north side and not just general improved infrastructure throughout the city. So in a way, it's the north side paying for improving their own area.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's basically what he's saying. So, of course, Crispian, he explains where the money is going via a list, but of course he says this is about $500,000 project. Yes, $500,000 project, just roughly. And this is what Chris is saying, but of course most of the work is going to street and sidewalk improvement. It is Missoula and Montana after all.
Mm-hmm.
So the rest of I'll just list them off. I won't give you the prices for each one of them because it all adds up. Sewer main line to the site, water main line to the site, stormwater system. Because of the location near White Pine, that has to be treated very carefully as far as keeping it away from that site. Gas and power mains need to be both upgraded to this site, not inside to it. And then demolition for just the Phase 1 properties. There's also some permits and so on that's involved with that.
Okay, so there is the list of what all this money is going towards. It's interesting. Like you'd think that a lot of places would have like water mains and pipes and sewer and all that stuff already in the system, especially some place that's so close to the heart of Missoula.
Yeah.
But of course, our last quote is. Of course, Mr. Bean believes that this is this urban renewal is important to any new residents who wish to move to the areas in the north side between North and Rogers Street. So, and this is my last quote.
I think one of the things in this area, though, is if you want to be thinking about residential of any kind coming across Scott Street, the infrastructure is going to have to be seriously upgraded. And this is the first step in making all that happen.
Okay, thanks. Has the MRA board discussed at all permanent affordability for these units and whether or not anything will be required along those lines?
The MRA board felt like this is part of a spectrum of activities along the affordable housing range. And no, that one of the things that happens in this, that the way it's been explained to us by Colin Banks, who knows that affordable housing pretty well and worked with this project, is explaining as far as the location and size of these units will probably keep the market at an affordable range for whatever time that it's, so 5 years, 10 years, or so on, and also will allow the folks that are in it the ability to realize some equity so that they can move into a different kind of a ladder. That's not going to.
So he's basically saying that the area that the kind of places that would be built there are starter homes, places, and they give a range of prices for people to live in that certain area once they improve the infrastructure, and the range is $150,000 to $250,000 to live there.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily cheap, but it's fair for Missoula average standards.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, I'm very curious as to see what those homes are going to look like. Because I live on the north side, as I said, and I had major construction going on in front of my house for like the past year. And they built some really nice apartments, so they're making affordable housing. But I'm just very curious as to, I don't know, how affordable that can be. But the third comment that you guys saw in the city council, Mike Fellows, he will be on our show on Friday to talk about the school bond.
Talk how he's against
because we've had
MCBS school bond.
So many pro-school bonds people on, so now it's good to get an opposing side. So we're going to hear from him on Friday.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you have an opposing voice on any of the people that we have on our show, you can call us at 542-6228, otherwise known as 542
MCAT.
But there's almost a million ways to get in contact with us by logging on to our website, wakeupmissoula.wix.com/wakeupmissoula. So nice we made you spell it out twice. But if it's a little too hard, You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. We're all over the place.
You can like Missoula Community Access Television on Twitter.
Yes,
You can
that's how also you can get in contact with us via
Yeah.
our Twitter page, Missoula Community Access Television.
You can also get in contact with us over our Facebook page for MCAT, as well as go to MCAT.org. If you see the contact tab, just click on that, fill us out, click on our website.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's simple. It's contacting us and
As simple
even
as that.
calling us because our number is right on our website.
Yep. Yeah, and so, like Scott said, if you guys know of anyone that you would like to see on our show, just contact us. If you know of any groups you'd like to see on our show, contact us. And if you have an opposing voice to anything that we've been talking about, or know anyone that has an opposing voice, contact us and come on. We know we're open to everyone. Everyone's opinions, everyone's things going on. We're open to it. So
Yes.
let us know.
As long as you're funny.
Yeah. As long as you don't cuss anyone out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Keep it PC, y'all.
Yeah. But
All right,
yeah.
so without further ado, I just want to thank all our guests for coming on the show. Dan Gallagher, Veterans Day, 2 weeks away.
Yes.
And I want to say
Coming up.
Lois and Judy from the Missoula Aging Service. If you're a senior and you want to get involved or help other seniors who are going through a tough time, it's for 55 and over, and they just need somebody to look out for them, got their back, because it's always nice to have someone who has your back, and Missoula
It is.
Aging Service is those people
There,
who have
yep.
your back, especially in your golden glory years.
Yes, I quite agree. Well, thanks for tuning in, everyone. My name's Noelle McFoy.
And I'm Scott Ramp. Here's
Here's
Asaph Adonai to wrap up the show for us.